Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Indonesian Young Coders League Talk Show Volume 2. Thanks for your time, and I'm so glad to have all of you here. Hopefully, after this talk show, we will gain something to bring home. And yeah, before we go further. Let's watch these videos first. I'm sorry. Maybe there are some technical error.
Apa jadinya jika setiap bisnis memiliki modal yang sama, kesempatan yang sama untuk membangun visi yang diimpikan sejak awal? Mereka memiliki keinginan yang sama besarnya. Sama-sama tekun mengerjakan apa yang ada di hadapannya untuk menjadi yang terdepan. Kami mengerti, menjadi yang terdepan di era teknologi yang terus berkembang memang bukan perkara mudah. Bisnis akan selalu dihadapkan pada persaingan dan perubahan yang semakin cepat. Di Mekari, kami yakin setiap bisnis memiliki kesempatan dan peluang yang sama untuk menjadi yang terbaik di bidangnya. Mereka yang mampu beradaptasi dengan teknologi akan memiliki peluang lebih besar untuk bertumbuh. Hanya saja, keterbatasan solusi dan kemampuan beradaptasi dengan teknologi menjadi hal yang tidak dapat dipungkiri. Karena itu kami hadir sebagai solusi berbasis teknologi yang memudahkan pengelolaan sumber daya terpenting dari setiap bisnis, manusia, dan finansial. Sehingga bisnis kecil dan menengah di Indonesia dapat bertumbuh dan melangkah lebih jauh. Satu hal yang kami percaya, setiap bisnis yang bertumbuh akan memberikan ruang bagi individu di dalamnya untuk berkembang dan mengasah potensinya. Individu yang tidak hanya berhenti dengan hasil yang baik, namun juga menghasilkan yang terbaik. Kami tahu Anda memiliki kapasitas untuk tujuan yang lebih besar. Untuk itu selebihnya, biar kami yang melakukan. Mekari, the good things at work.
Okay, that's one from Mekari's video, and we will watch another video from Money Forward. Okay, that was the video from Mekari and Money Forward. Before we going further, I will introduce this webinar. This webinar is a collaboration between Agile Ambition and Indonesian Young Coders League Volume 2. Agile Ambition is a series of online talk shows organized by Mekari to discuss various issues within the engineering culture alongside different engineering leaders and guest speaker in each episode. And Indonesia Young Coders League, or IYCL, is a national-wide coding competition that gives you the rare chance to go against Indonesia's best young coders from both local and overseas university. As you top our nation ISO leaderboard, you will have the chance to win great prize, bragging right for topping our prestigious leaderboard, and a 6-month mentorship program, or even a full-time job in Japan. So what are you waiting for? Go to the bit.ly/ISO 2021 to register and compete. And yeah, today's Agile Ambitions we will talk about, is cloud engineering a promising career to get into? First of all, I will introduce myself. I am Abdi, and I will moderate this webinar sessions. All right. Today, we already have two experts here that ready to share their knowledge to us. So please welcome Mr. Truong Nguyen Man or Long from Money Forward Japan. Long, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Chung, and my nickname is Long, so just please call me Long. And I've been work in Money Forward for almost 4 years, and I work in several roles such as full stack, blockchain, or microservice developers. And as you see in the previous video, we are a startup, fintech startups from Japan, and we have both B2B and B2C service. And one fun fact is that in Money Forward, we did have several Indonesia member as intern, and currently in my team, we have 2 full-time Indonesian members. So Money Forward always welcome more and more Indonesian members. So please come and join us.
Okay, great. Thank you, Long. And today we also have Mas Rudi Pangestu from Mekari. Please introduce yourself, Mas.
Hi everyone, I am Rudy. I am a DevOps engineer in Mekari. Mekari is a leading software as a service platform in Indonesia, which helps business operational with products like Talenta for HRIS, Journal for accounting, Click Pajak for managing tax, and many others.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mas Rudi. And before we start the discussion, I will read the rundown of our events. After this, we will have the talk show, the discussions, and after the discussions, you are free to give questions on the Q&A sessions in the Zoom. And then after that, we will have the closing, and I will read the conclusions of our discussion. All right, so let's start the discussion. If we talk about cloud engineer, we also talk about cloud computing. The word cloud is very familiar for most of us, but some maybe not know the dictionary meaning of cloud or cloud computing is. Can you both tell us briefly about it and how actually the cloud works? I think we can start from Long.
Okay, sure. So now before we go into like what cloud computing is, I just want to talk about why we need cloud computing. So before cloud computing exists, when we start a service, we need to build like everything from scratch, build everything by ourselves. For example, if we want to build a website, we have to buy a physical server, set up a web server, or buying physical storage, extra hard drive for data backup, for example. And we can see right away, the downside of that is, the first upfront cost is huge. We don't know our service is successful or not, but we lost the upfront cost already. And not to mention that the whole process is hard and it might take times. not everyone can set up a web server, configuring Nginx, those that require IT expert for managing and maintaining the infrastructures. So with all of that reason, cloud computing is created. So cloud computing provide computing service over the cloud, hence the name. And I think cloud here is the metaphor for the internet. And why they choose a cloud is personally, I think that back those days at university, when we have the illustration of how the package go over the internet, we often have it illustrated as a cloud. So I think that's where the name come from, where the terminology come from. So well, anyway, yeah, cloud computing can provide us so many service, and the number of service can provide just keep increasing. It can be hardware, software, or something general, just as solutions. And as long as we have a good connection, we can use this from almost anywhere and anytime. Yeah, that's my thought.
All right, very interesting. What about you, Mas Rudy?
Okay, for me, my explanation would be kind of similar like Long. In simple terms, for me, cloud itself is a server with access to internet. Basically, we just rent someone else's computer, which in this case may be cloud provider like Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. As for why the cloud itself exists in the first place, I guess it's already explained by Long.
Okay, thank you. Long before you mentioned the pros of the cloud computing, the easy that cloud computing provides to us. Is there any the cons of the cloud computing itself?
Yeah, so about the cons, I think I can talk about one of the cons is that the nature of cloud computing is whenever we have internet, we can use it.
Oh yeah.
But what if we don't have good connection to the cloud provider? The user experience is maybe not good. For example, if I were to launch a service for Vietnam market, I think I won't choose public cloud because there's no public cloud data center in Vietnam yet.
Oh, I
And
see.
I think the nearest data center is in Singapore.
Singapore.
And user from Vietnam have to go to Singapore to the service, and that introduce latency and something like 50 or 100 millisecond might be not really acceptable.
Oh,
So I think in that case we should consider build for our own or run a data center that near most of our users. Yeah. So anyway, this disadvantage or cons can be improved in the future as public cloud infrastructure is improving more and more. So
I see.
yeah.
Do you have anything that maybe to add, Mas Rudy, about the cons of the cloud computing itself?
Okay, yeah, the cons is like Long already said, it's about latency, right? Because for example, we are in Indonesian, and then not each cloud provider provide the region for Indonesia yet. So the nearest would be like Long said, Singapore. Then our user may face a bit latency to access our services.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the cloud engineers. From the name itself, so cloud engineer basically is the person who handles the cloud system. So can you briefly describe what cloud engineer roles are, and if there's any more roles under the name of cloud engineers, what are them and what is the difference? Maybe Mas Rudy, you can ask.
Okay. While software engineer like Long focus on writing application code, cloud engineer job is to provision and maintain infrastructure which running code written by a software engineer. Our job may also include like set up CI/CD pipeline, monitoring, alerting, migration, and many others. Just like software engineer, I think it can be broken down into back-end engineer and front-end engineer. Cloud engineer also can be broken down into many things like DevOps engineer like me, and then database engineer, and then network engineer, and many others.
Oh, I see. In Mekari itself, as you know, the cloud engineer's role break down to how many roles, Mas?
Okay, currently we are only got like 2 job title that related to cloud, like DevOps engineer and then database engineer.
Oh, I see. So I move too long. As your role as a software engineer, how important should a software engineer know about cloud computing?
Okay, so yeah, how important is the software engineer? Yeah, so I just answer from my perspective as a software engineer. I think only writing code doesn't make us a good software engineer. Writing code is just almost the final step of solving problems. And what makes a good software engineer is like how we came up to the solution, and does the solution is good enough. And the reason we as cloud engineer, no, as software engineer should learn cloud computing is that it provides us with so many solutions, and we have so many ideas to solve the problems, and all we have to do is just pick the right tool for the right job. And as if software engineer want to advance further in technical, either to tech lead or technical architect or even CTO, it's all about solving problems. So having no cloud computing open up so many possibility, and it has so great value to our career paths. So I definitely recommend have knowledge about cloud computing, even as a software engineer.
Oh, I see. Very interesting. So I think in this 4.0 industry era, there are many tech industries. How important is cloud engineer roles in tech companies, especially in for Mekari and Money Forward? Maybe you can answer first, Mas Rudy.
Okay, I guess aside from Mekari or Money Forward, every tech company nowadays need at least one cloud engineer or someone knowledgeable in cloud, because the code written by software engineer need to be deployed and so user can access it. And for cloud engineer, they need to create the infrastructure that highly available, scalable, and secure. So yeah, I think the role of cloud engineer is very important.
Okay, I see. How about you? What did you think?
Okay. So from our company's value, we have a value called user focus, and we constantly research the market, identify users' pain, and provide them with solution. For a SaaS company, as well as Mekari, the most important thing is to like build solution that really fix users' problem, and it should be released fast, so that we could test our idea with real customer and constantly improve it. Or because our company, our opponent, already came up with the same ideas and they already get ahead of us. So the release should be fast. So in order to do it, the role of cloud engineer is critical. They need to came up with the best solution, as we said, about speed and scalability and security. And in Money Forward, we even partner with AWS as advisor, uh, so that we can console, like review with best practice, case studies, and we can communicate with them whenever incident happen. And all we want is to make the product, hit the market as soon as possible, and we can make the product stable. Yeah, so the cloud engineer in our organization is has changed from nice to have to must have.
So must have roles here. So let's imagine. What if a tech company today does not have a cloud engineer, just have a maybe software engineer that who knows about cloud computing, and yeah, send him to manage it. Long?
Yeah, so if we don't have cloud engineer, I think, everything could go wrong, the product maybe can't be released, or it just takes forever, even if it makes to the market, I think it can be super fragile. No one maintain it, no one needs to update, patching the security, handle when the service got incident, or the traffic is high. Things just go wrong in many ways, in my opinion.
Oh, I see. What do you think, Mas Rudy?
Okay. Well, if someone try to build the infrastructure without proper knowledge in cloud, then the infrastructure itself may not secure, highly available, or scalable. And then deployment need to be manual because lack of automation, and then no alerting, no monitoring. Service is done, then we doesn't know, don't receive the alert or something like that.
Okay, I see. Okay. Before these questions, yeah, I think you two already mentioned the job and the critical of a cloud engineer on doing the job. Is cloud computing as same as automation, or the cloud computing itself implement automation on doing its jobs? Yeah? I think we can start with you, Mas Long.
Okay, sure. So automation, I think automation is a solution so that we can get rid of repetitive tasks, while cloud computing is like a solution to a more general thing, not just repetitive tasks. For example, we have automation in cloud. Back in the day, we have to repetitively, click on the UI to provision resources. And nowadays we write a script to it and tell the cloud to provision it. Just the idea of infrastructure as code. And another use case that we have regular backup or update. That's just the idea of cron job. So yeah, so the automation in cloud, there's so many use case, but other than that, cloud have many other solutions, maybe as simple as, sending mail or provide storage. And, the cloud computing is just more general, and I think it's broader than the usage of automation.
Oh, I see. So in terms of solutions, cloud provides solution, but not repetitive. But on doing the repetitive, it may be automation. Yeah. Okay. Mas Rudy, what do you think?
Okay. For me, automation is part of cloud computing because in cloud, we also want to automate stuff instead of doing it manually, such as provisioning resource instead of doing it through cloud provider console management dashboard. We want to automate it repetitive tasks like long already said, deployment, auto scaling of application, automate backup process. Then this automation came into a shape such as infrastructure as a code, like long already said too, or just a simple script.
Oh, I see. So interesting. So, Mas Rudy, on doing that automations is the cloud engineer who scripting the automations, or any for example, in Mekari we use AWS and GCP, or the providers or the example AWS already provide the automations.
Okay. Currently at Mekari, we are actually a multi-cloud. We are using AWS and GCP. As for the automation part of the cloud provider itself, they just provide services like AWS Lambda, and then for or Google PubSub in GCP. Basically, with automation, we are connecting those services to make it automate. For example, like creating database or creating instance. This can be automated using the AWS services itself, or we can use like third party like Terraform to create the infrastructure as a code.
Oh, I see. So when doing the automations, basically, should a cloud engineer know deep about algorithm as deep as software engineer maybe?
I guess just basic programming stuff doesn't necessarily need to be expert in algorithm. Just be creative, I guess, because automation is being creative.
We move to the next questions. Are there any cloud computing concern or issue that engineering teams have ever faced based on your experience? For example, maybe the security, availability, or cross-team. Because I think cloud computing also work with software engineer. I think we can start from low.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I would share from our company use case. And so the issue was operation. And previously, our infra team was only 8 people. And that's only a few percent of all developers. And we have around 400 developers. So it's like around 2%. So the operation and the management of all the service is taken by only infra team, only 8 people. And meanwhile, the number of service is keep increasing. And all of the requests, all of the tickets to infra team just take time, to gradually take more time. And they became can't respond quickly enough. And the infra team just become some sort of bottleneck. And yeah, so in order to fix that, we choose the multi-account configuration. So the idea is that we assign AWS account to each developer team and give them more freedom to like create the resource, update the resource by themselves, by the very developer team. And by expand the area the developer team can touch, and the motivation for develop increase. Also, the awareness of operation also increase. And so in order to do that, developer team must have at least one member have basic knowledge of cloud, can build container using Terraform. So at Money Forward, we organize a lot of trainings, hands-on and course from AWS. And me, myself as developers also attended a lot. Yeah, so yeah, in conclusion, the issue was operation, and we gradually transfer the infra authority to developers.
Oh, I see. What a way to overcome the problem. Mas Rudy, in Mekari itself, can you tell us?
Okay, I guess Long already tell the story from the engineering perspective. I will tell the story from the cloud perspective. Sometimes the company may not to adopt cloud and go out with on-premise, which is managing the physical server itself rather than on cloud. For example, like in Indonesia, maybe this is because the industry for that company required to comply with government regulation, or the company itself doesn't believe in third party. Yeah, this is one of the concern, I guess, regarding cloud. But otherwise, I guess every company would choose cloud since the benefit of running in cloud is so much more than on-premise.
Oh, I see. Okay. I think the previous questions a bit heavier, so let's relax from the technical questions. I think I will ask about Mas Rudy as a cloud engineer. Can you explain briefly about the career path of a cloud engineer?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Oh yeah, let's. Can you briefly explain about the career path of a cloud engineer?
Okay. Here in Mekari, actually, I start my journey as a software engineer like Long, but decide to change to DevOps engineer since Mekari itself is open for the employee to changing career path
Oh, I see.
opportunities. As for what is needed to become DevOps, well, knowledge in cloud, obviously, CI/CD pipeline, automation, setup monitoring and alerting, and also a good communication skill.
Okay, I see. As you say before, there are many roles that can break down from cloud engineer. I think is every roles under the cloud engineer can start from the entry or junior levels.
Yeah, sure. At some point, we are junior, right?
Oh,
We start from the junior.
okay, I see. Thank you. Okay, move to the next questions. In your opinion, guys, what can you tell us why someone would choose a career to be a cloud engineer? Why someone would choose a career to be a cloud engineer? We can start from low.
Yeah. So as I shared previously, from a software engineer perspective, yeah. So as I said before, writing code doesn't make a good software engineer, and what make a good software engineer is how we can came up with solution, and does a solution that's good enough, and knowing about cloud computing provide us with so many solution, and we can advance our career from a software engineer into either in cloud branch to either DevOps or uh, cloud architect or technical architect, or we can switch straight to the technical part to tech lead or CTO, but all of that require some skill related to solving problems. So having cloud computing knowledge, can open us so many possibility, and it just adds so great value to our career paths.
Okay, Mas Rudy.
Okay, why would someone choose a career as a cloud engineer? I think because the cloud engineer demand itself is huge. Every company start moving to cloud right now. Again, maintaining on-premise infrastructure ourselves is difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. So everyone want to move towards cloud. In my opinion, being a cloud engineer is very prospective. If we take a look at most big companies like Oracle, Alibaba, Tencent, and many others, they are also creating their own cloud service provider business. Why would they bother to create those services if the demand is low, right?
Yeah,
For me, this is a proof that being a cloud engineer is a good career path.
I see. So I can conclude that a cloud engineer is top wanted roles right now. Okay. I think for the tech youngster out there that who want to be a cloud engineer, can you tell them where can they start to learn about cloud engineering? Should they join workshop, bootcamp, or yeah, or what it takes to be a cloud engineer? We can start from low.
Okay, sure. People often think that cloud computing provides us with all the solution already. We just need to mix it together, learning to build a configuration, but actually it's not true. We still need basic knowledge, such as computer network, the network OSI 7-layer,
Certainly.
TCP/IP, and have experience with Linux, Unix, and also with Bash. That would be very helpful when we need to trace error, debugging. Chance are if we have studied computer science as a major in college, we might already learn this. So just one advice to young star is that don't skip class. I skip a lot and I so regret. And once we have basic knowledge, and we should have some experience with cloud provider service. There's a lot of courses in the internet, but I recommend learn from the cloud provider, either AWS or GCP, because they always have the latest update, and chances are that you're going to use their product anyway. So myself, as software engineer, I don't have any IT background, so I go to AWS.training. They have lots of courses in there, and other than that, almost major cloud have pre-plan for student, and we can try that to have an idea about cloud computing. And for student, they can apply for intern at cloud engineer solution to get further experience.
Okay. Thank you. Let's hear from the cloud engineer himself. Mas Rudy.
Okay, for tech youngster who want to embrace being a cloud engineer, I guess they can explore on their own, start to learn using specific cloud. There are many cloud service provider. Choose one between the most popular, either AWS, GCP, or Azure. For me personally, I recommend AWS or GCP, like Long said, because of their market share. Just try to create an account. They offer free tier and play around with their services. Another option would be like learn from YouTube. Since YouTube is free, it would be the cheapest option. Or buy an online course. It can be as cheap as $20 if on discount. The last option would be like the most expensive, I guess, which is through the bootcamp. But with the latter option, you got a mentor that can guide you. Also learn about all the necessary stuff, like Long already said, Linux, fundamental of networking, containerization, basic programming, so you can automate stuff, monitoring, alerting, and then beside hard skill, I guess soft skills such as communication also important, because being cloud engineer, we are also collaborate with other engineering division.
Oh, I see. So as you mentioned, AWS provide free course. Am I right?
More like free tier. The course itself, like into documentation, or I think they also got a YouTube channel you can follow.
Oh, I see. So there's the reason
tutorial.
for reason expensive, because there are a free course. Okay, thank you. So we came to the last questions. Maybe this is about your. I will ask your opinion. As you mentioned in previously, there are that cloud engineer is high demandly. Cloud computing is using in almost every tech companies. In your opinion, what will cloud computing be like in maybe next 10 years, 20 years? Will a career in cloud computing, cloud engineer itself, be significant in the future and has potential to develop? You can start from Mas Rudy.
Okay, I believe cloud will still be relevant. In the past year, many things has emerged, such as the term of DevOps, serverless, cloud native, I guess. And for the next 10 years, I also don't know what will happen in cloud, because being in the technology, it's very fast. we cannot keep up, and then many unexpected things start to appear. I guess we just need to wait for that things to appear that will surprise us.
Okay, I see. What do you think, Long?
Yeah, so right now the cloud already have a key point to any business. Cloud computing is fast and cost effective of building service for many business, both big and small. And in the future, as we said, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe cloud gaming, smart home, smart city, just might be a common thing. New ideas and business come up every day, and we need a solution to deliver that to users. And that's why cloud engineer will always be critical roles, and will be always in demand.
Okay, I see. Thank you for all the attendees. I think if you want to ask our speakers about our topics today, you can ask in the Q&A box. Yeah? I think is there's any. Okay, there are two. You open it. Oh, okay. Okay. For the first question from Regan Iwada, Mas Regan Iwada. What are your thoughts on the microservice craze? I feel like there's a growing trend of microservice everything, even though the benefits of the microservice is still far fetched and might slow down development. Should I build a monolithic app first and start segregating the service down the line? Okay, you got the questions, Long, Mas Rudy?
Yeah, so let
We can start from
with this, because this is exactly the use case of Money Forward. 10 years ago when we released our first service, it was monolithic, and since 2012 and later, more service is launched, and we use the same common platform. And I agree with you that the release was very fast. But however, times come, and the whole service become tightly coupled, and it's very easy to failure. The chance of failure is very high. And since we not notice that, and we start to like separate it down to several microservice. And yeah, so if we do the microservice from the very beginning, it might be a very good performance, but it can take very long time to hit the market. Yeah, so it have the pros and cons. Yeah, from our use case, we build a super big monolithic at first, and then we migrate it to smaller microservice. And yeah, we still doing it until now. And yeah.
Okay. So what you think, Mas Rudy?
Okay, I need to disagree with the mic slow down development part, because being microservice means we are breaking down the teams into several teams that's much more smaller, and then they can act autonomous, and they in return they can increase the velocity, I guess. Should you build the monolithic app first? I guess yes, and then if the monolithic app start behaving, then we can create a microservice to breaking down the each component.
Okay, so let's talk about the case the first to build the company. But so you suggest to do the monolithic API? So when it should be, I think, to migrate and segregating the service down the line to microservice. Mas Rudy.
Okay. So like we probably start first with monolithic, right? And then after we are starting with monolithic, our company start to grow, and then users start to we have many users, and then we identified some specific part got slowed down, and then that's when we need to start thinking about microservice, I think. Because we need to break that part into a microservice, then that microservice itself can scale independently. So we don't need to scale the whole application because it's monolithic, but we just need to scale the independent part, which slow, I guess.
I see. What do you think, Long?
Yeah, I also agree with Rudy. When we when we use monolithic at first, at a certain point of time, we might see that the whole system is tightly coupled, and it might be very easy to break it. Just one service have an incident might break down the whole system, and yeah, it's very hard to scale. And in some point of time that we can't scale in horizontal, scale in vertical, like the resource itself just come into the maximum of its resource. So when we build on monolithic, and we can scale it horizontally with multiple instances of the same service, and that's a very hard thing to do with monolithic. And yeah.
Okay, I see. Thank you. And before we go to the next questions, I think I will warmly to remind you guys to ask question on the Q&A's box, and also I will remind you to check our coding competitions, Indonesian Young Coders League on the, and you can check it on the bit.ly/IYCL 2021. Okay, we move to the next questions. These questions come from Mas Adani. Which cloud engineering roles is the most difficult and has a high entry barrier in your opinion? In previous discussion, I think you both already said that cloud engineer roles can break down to many roles here. Which one is the most difficult and high entry barrier in your opinion? Maybe we can start from Mas Rudy.
Okay, I guess the most difficult role would be site reliability engineer.
SRE.
Yeah, because they need to ensure the feature delivery can keep up with the number of users, and then they also need to keep up. They need to track their uptime, make sure the application is stable, and then many things. Test the performance of application.
Okay. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a very hard question because I don't
Yes.
have much insights about like cloud engineering, and picking the most difficult is also the hard one. And personally, I think the hardest might be as cloud architect, the one who need to have a very broad knowledge of all the solutions, and think of a solution that fit both on speed, scale, and security. And if we don't have a broad knowledge, and our solution might be work, but it might be not work fast and just work correctly. And I think that's a very hard thing for me.
Okay, thank you. So I will reverse the question. So which cloud engineering roles is the less difficult in your opinion? We can start from Mas Rudy.
Mm,
In your opinion?
I guess every role is important. Yeah. There is no such thing as the least important.
Oh, I see. What do you think, Rudy? Mas, what do you think, Long? Do you agree with Mas Rudy?
Yeah. Of course, not every work is important, and I think the easiest. I think we can start from as a software engineer, we start from writing to provision resource from a script, like writing Terraform to provision resource. And that's just something simple as you software engineer write code day to day. And it's I think it can be not really hard thing to do.
Okay, I see. Um, that's all the question in the Q&A box, I think. Is there anyone? I think we can still wait it for the next questions. Yeah, I think that's all the questions, I think, from the Q&A. And I think I will thank you for your explanation, Long and Mas Rudy. Oh, sorry. There are one more questions, sorry, from Dia Rahmawati. As I have education on system virtualizations, what would you suggest me to enter the career? Yeah. The career on software and cloud engineering, I guess, as she has education on system virtualizations. What would you suggest her to enter the career? You can start from Long.
Yeah, so I think system virtualization and like hypervisor are the key thing that make how cloud computing works. How can it be running? So I think you have very strong knowledge, very fundamental knowledge of how cloud computing works, and I think you could from that advantage you can uh, learn more knowledge from the usage side, from like a third party when they use the cloud computing. You can consult with them with solution, uh, learning all about the cloud computing solution can provide, and consult with them. And for example, they have monolithic app. Consult with them how they can migrate it to microservice using um, cloud computing service. And yeah, I think as previously we discussed, you can start from learning course in AWS, Udemy, or joining bootcamp, or try to intern at the company. And yeah, it can be very easy to enter the career since you already have the very strong foundation of the cloud computing. Yeah.
So, in what roles do you think, Long, under the cloud engineers? As mentioned before, sorry, am I audible? As yeah, we mentioned before, there are many roles under the cloud engineer. What roles I think you suggest?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Okay, am I audible? Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I think I'm not audible. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, sorry, I will ask you. You said that because she has the system virtualization educations, so she has a good basic, yeah, to enter the cloud engineering. So under the cloud engineering roles, what maybe you can suggest one to her?
Yeah, so I would just suggest to either aim to cloud architects or system operation, sysop. It's more related to what she has based on. Yeah.
Thank you, Long. Let's move on to Mas Rudy. What do you think, Mas?
Okay, for me, your starting point doesn't necessarily mean you must continue being continue learn around that path. I guess just pick the most interesting role for you. For example, like you want to be software engineer like Long, then try to learn how to code, learn some framework, and then yeah, just buy an online course, watch YouTube, explore it on yourself. Your starting point doesn't necessarily mean you must continue being on cloud. But I guess if you want to continue, then being a cloud developer, learn how to operate some cloud provider, pick one. I guess just choose between AWS or GCP, again, because of their market share. And then apply for some role in company like junior, and then just experience it yourself, whether that job title is for you or not.
Thank you, Mas Rudy. For the audience, is there any questions? I think we can wait for another questions. Okay, I think we will close it. Thank you for your question. I hope our speakers' explanations can satisfy you. And yeah, we are already in the end of our webinar today, and I will read the conclusions of today's webinar. Okay, decisions. The first is cloud computing is a server accessed through internet. Is it a cost efficient, less maintenance, and fast process data storage? And the main topic is cloud engineer. Cloud engineer job is to maintain the cloud infrastructure, responsible for migrating existing information into the cloud and build new solutions for the system. The importance of cloud engineers, constant research and development to maintain optimizations, speed and security of the company. Without a cloud engineer, the company will have a mass infrastructure maintenance. Moreover, it will be hard for the company to deliver informations and solutions efficiently. Next is cloud computing and automations. Cloud and automations are two different perspective things. Automation is part of cloud computing, which deploy and process automatically to release about the repetitive tasks. And next, concern about cloud computing and cloud engineering. Adapting multi-account cloud and maintaining the bottleneck infrastructure takes a lot of time. Each developer team needs at least one trained member with knowledge of cloud, as implemented on Money Forward, because the amount of cloud engineer is not same with the software engineer. The next is for the career path of the cloud engineer is learn more about cloud and its service through certification, self-study, and courses, thus being able to work individually and grow in the chosen field. Next, why you should choose to be a cloud engineer? Because there is a high demand in cloud engineers. Every company starts shifting towards cloud computing as it is easier to maintain, and there are more pros of the cloud computing than the cons. This field is very prospective, and most companies have started their own cloud business, such as IBM, AWS, GCP. Okay, that's the session summary of our today's. Oh, there are study tips for the tech youngster. First, choose a cloud service to get into deeper and take courses in Udemy or bootcamps. Second, understand the basic knowledge of the network. 7-layer OC model, Linux, alerting, monitoring. AWS is a provide a free course to learn, and try to get internship and yeah, as Long said, pay attention to the class. In the future, the cloud computing, there will be more cloud-based service. Yeah. And as new business ideas rises, the cloud engineering demand will increase. Moreover, the metaverse, serverless, and more cloud-based innovation will continue to become a trend. Thus, a career in cloud computing will still be relevant in the future. Okay, I think that's it. And once again, I will remind you guys that to our coding competition, Indonesian Young Coders League, you can sign and compete by the link on bit.ly/IYCL Vault 2. Okay, I think that's of our webinar today. Thank you for the speaker. Thank you, Long. Thank you, Mas Rudy, for your time and your sharing knowledge. And thank you everyone who has been tuning in. And don't forget to fill the feedback form, which you can find in the chat box or on the screen after this session ends. If you miss any part of this webinar, don't worry, because we will upload this recorded sessions via our YouTube channel, and we will send the link to all attendees via email as well. Lastly, don't forget to check out our coding competition Indonesia Young Coders League, and follow us on Instagram on @live@Mekari for more updates. And I think that's it for our sharing session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.